I was going to say years ago when I was a kid, for example, I had a negative attitude to it.
Hello, beautiful people. This is your favorite guy, Raymond H.A. Agbaleno, your favorite Ghanaian young Pan Africanist. Guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. If it's your first time watching me, guys, try as much as subscribe and like and share as well. And they chose to visit Ghana. And guess who? They chose to tour Ghana with the Ghanaian young Pan Africanists. It was really awesome. Actually, it is a spiritual journey. They came to discover their roots of who's an African. Guys, follow me as I dive
Their point
in.
of trading, there was the exchange. And then more or less, the children who were found right in the dungeons were not even counted to that of the adults. So in conclusion, we are dealing with more than 1,000 who were all divided to be held right in the dungeons there for 3 months and more, whilst waiting for the ship to come. The question we should be asking ourselves daily: what was the condition that they made them to go through within that period of months that they were held in the dungeons? And that is what we are here to go through. So we going through that is to motivate and to guide us to make sure what happened in the past should not repeat itself again. Since slavery is still going on in a different way. So it is about time we ought to educate ourselves very well. And with the education aspect, I do say every day that it is time that we need to tell the African history and the African perspective. Then together we can make the world a better place. Don't forget, the Europeans went beyond to write our own history for us to reading them in our schools. And as we talk now, in Florida, US, they are trying their maximum best when it comes to the stopping of teaching African history in schools. The question we should be asking ourselves is, why do they want to stop the teaching of African history in schools? Don't forget, Marcus Garvey made a statement long time ago. And the statement goes this way: that people without a knowledge of their past or their history is like a tree without its roots. It is about time we need to visit our roots, and then together we will know where we're heading towards, as you've done now. Then together we can make Africa great again. So through that, we are going to take the walk, and as I told you earlier, it's going to be part of the exercise to go to the relatives, the dangers. Any question or any suggestion so far, please? We good? Right. So let's take the walk, please.
So these ones here, there's no way any of these trees could have broken one to escape the dragon. No, they couldn't. Yes. Very heavy. These are rusted because of the sea breeze.
Right. So this place, it happens to be the largest place for the woman when it comes to the division of the 400. So then we are talking about 150 women out of the 400 who were here. So with the gated doors that we have there, it happens to be the point where ventilation was coming in. The other way for ventilation to be here is that of the small hole that we have over there. But with that side, it leads to a place where the soldiers kept their weapons in there. Weapons could be guns, gunpowder, and other items. The gunpowder, it is toxic or poisoned. Should there be leakages, the scent of it will be coming from that side to this place. And this is where we have the women held here. Not only that, we are also looking at human nature. Urinating, vomiting, the physics aspect. The women too, we are dealing with menstrual cycle when it comes to the monthly basis of it. All this happened right here whilst we're here. Yes. Do not also forget that whatever the enslaved Africans were being captured with, that was the same thing they made them to use here for 3 months and more. With respect to what we put on every day, when they come in contact with wet things like water, the sweating aspect, it becomes so weak when they are not being dried. So then, we're now looking at the men, the women, and that of the children who were found right in the dungeons here naked. With the nakedness of going through the realities, the floor that we see happens to be the original floor that they made them to sleep on at that time. There used to be outbreak of disease and more. Some of them lost their lives before the ship too arrives in 3 months' time. We always keep on saying, may those who died to rest in perfect peace. But don't forget, anybody who lose his or her life right in the dangers, the bodies of it were taken and thrown into the sea. But don't forget that with the point of death, somebody could go unconscious. Being unconscious, the probability of coming back to life is high. They take the perception that the person is dead. They had a cannonball, the bigger aspect of it, tied them, went deep sea, threw them. Even the point of you coming back to life, you're already dead already. So we do say every day that Miss who died should rest in perfect peace. Let's see what we have to say. Talk to me.
You said the first set of people that they had here, they were 1,000.
Yes.
So the other set would have been more
It was
than,
more than that.
and so they were able to stay in the same
Yes.
one room. So instead of the 150 or 200 here,
Exactly.
it would have been maybe 4, 5, 6,
Exactly.
600.
Sure.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right.
So this is the reason why, if you look at the death rate, Medanians was even high. The point is that somebody or people were not even being brought within that period of months. They do bring in more people coming in. So people had to even commit their own suicide because of health right here for a long time. So if you were to look at the balance of slavery in total, those who died were more than those who survived. Yes.
And then if the ship took a longer time to get here, more than the 3 months,
Yes.
it would have been worse.
It was
with the
exactly,
disease and the
exactly,
conditions.
exactly. So they also did this way because of the death rate being high. They now introduce what we're talking about, the insurance company.
Insurance what?
Insurance company.
Oh,
For the exactly. So the more they die, the more they are being paid by the insurance company.
oh.
Yes. Yes. So that's what happened.
Okay, so I have one.
Talk to me. Talk to me.
I have one question. So, listen, all the enslaved people from Ghana were processed through this era, this fort, this castle.
Right. So let's look at this point here. If we are to talk about the genesis of the slavery, not the slave or not all the slaves were mostly from Ghana. No. The slavery, the bringing them here, it went beyond the borders of this country. Yes. It could be Togo, it could be Cote d'Ivoire, it could be Benin, it could be anywhere. So if you look at their perception, they now built fort along all the coastal areas heading towards Cote d'Ivoire. So the last boundary of fort in Ghana heads towards Elibo, or we're talking about Nkobra, that area there. So they could use that place as a stopping point before they could get here. And it also goes beyond to the northern part. That's why we have the Slaga slave market and other things over there. So, because of mixed nationals right in the dungeons, if you look at the African Americans, when they do their DNA, they can testify. They could be half Ghanaian, half Nigerian, and the other way around. That's
come
how.
into
Exactly. Yeah.
a lot of
Yes.
But finally, other than pass through this process.
Everybody passed the same process.
No. This here.
Yes, please. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So
So you
let's
say
look. Okay. Now let's look at this point here. The process of them passing through here depends on the country. Example, Portuguese. They dealing with the people getting the slaves were here. The British, Cape Coast, the Danish or the Danes. Exactly. So that's how it is.
so we really kind say that our ancestors passed through here.
It could be 50-50.
Okay,
It could be
gotcha.
here, it could be Cape Coast Castle, it could be Christian Castle.
Okay.
Yes.
That's the point I wanted.
Yes.
Okay, then thanks.
But here was the main one. This was
This
the
is the
main
main
one.
one, and this is the
Yeah.
biggest one.
The biggest, yeah.
So the
The biggest,
probability,
yeah.
so the probability is higher that they passed through here.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because here was the highest than all the other castles.
Okay.
Yes. And that's what they first started with for almost 100 years before the Cape Coast and the Christian also started up.
Also, okay.
Yes.
Almost 100 years.
Yes. This is 1482, Cape Coast 16th centuries, Christian 16th centuries.
Here's the oldest castle.
That name, Christian?
Christian
Book.
Castle,
I'd
yes.
never heard of that one before. It's
yeah.
a smaller one?
No,
Smaller
it's also a bigger castle.
Also a bigger castle?
The castles are all bigger, but this is the biggest
Okay,
and the
yeah.
oldest.
I've heard of
And
Cape
don't
Coast
forget,
Castle.
this is the oldest stone building in line of slavery in the whole world.
Oh.
They said, yes.
Right.
Yes, the Portuguese, yeah. Yeah. Yes, please. You can do that, please. Yeah. We are seeing over there happens to be their source of water for cooking, washing, and drinking. But then it was a clean water at that time. But because it's no more in use for a long time, we have it this way. It's a form of reservoir. When it rains, it goes in there. With the exception of this water, which was used for domestic aspects, they did use the same water over there to be washing the women. They were abusing sexually. Through that, up there was where the governor would stand when it comes to the pointing or the selecting of the women. And when that is done, the fetch water wash them. Let's see what they took them to the governor's bedroom. Let's see this side. That happens to be a secret steps which goes to the governor's bedroom. We are not going to use this place to see the place. We are going to use the main entrance to see this bedroom. But with this side, they meant it purposely for the women they did abuse. That was why they had to walk them to the governor's bedroom. But what happened is some of the women were found pregnant right in the dungeons that we have there. So those who got pregnant, they had a place where they kept those pregnant women until they deliver. But before we look at the point of it, we so fortunate we have earlier stage. The probability of being sold out to merchants is so high. And with the point of them taking them to the new world, it took them about 6 weeks or more to get to their destination. With the aspect of them spending days, weeks, and months on board, that is when by chance the symptoms of the pregnancy will show up. The merchant now realizing pregnant women found on board, they had the perception those pregnant women cannot work within that moment. So what they did was, some of them were thrown to the sea for them to move on. And then also, Wherever they got to, that was their stopping point. Those pregnant women were left there for them to move on. With the point of leaving them there, we ought to ask, are they going to eat? Don't forget, already the food they gave to them was only to sustain them. But at this point, no food at all. And then also, with those who were found at the earlier stage, they had a place they kept them. When they do deliver, they do have some specific years. Those children were now separated from their mothers. Their mothers were sent back to the dungeons to be sold out. And then the children were held right in the dungeons here for them to be trained at a point of them educating them, which I always talking about the indoctrination aspect of it. So this happens to be the mixed race children. Through that, Europeans then introduced the European culture in Ghana and Africa as well. Let's see what we have there. Now, this happens to be the metal ball or the cannonball, which they used to punish the women that they claimed those women refused to go to the governor's bedroom. So, with the point of them punishing them at that time, they had a chain on top of it, and the chain on top of it was what they used to shackle them. What we have here is very heavy. With its heaviness aspect, they cannot go anywhere until the punishment will be over. Not going anywhere to the punishment to be over. Do not also forget about the condition aspect of nature. It could be raining, it could be shining. We also talking about day and night. They ought to be here until the punishment will be over. And I was saying right there, language barrier, they did punish right here. And as I just said, the bringing in of the enslaved Africans, it went beyond the borders of this country. So they were punishing them right here to be serving as a lesson for those in the dungeons, that anytime they do select them, they need to respond to the selection.
About what would be the weight?
This is almost about 20 pounds. Yes. But don't even forget, with this weight now, the sea breeze, metal in connection with sea breeze getting rusted. So more of the weight has even been reduced. So it could be more than 20 pounds as we talk about.
So when you spoke about the women earlier who were left behind, the ones who, delivered their kids, were they still chained when they were left behind?
Irrespective of their age, the enslaved Africans were chained no matter where they were taking them to.
When they were left
Exactly.
behind and abandoned.
Yes. Yes.
How were they meant to survive?
That's the point. So that's why I just said in the beginning, all the items that we see right here, they are not part of the slave trade. But in the other way around, it also gives an idea about what happened in the past. Some students in the early part of 2015, they came to mimic what happened here. So with what they came to do here, they used the material that we see right there to cover themselves. They were half naked. And the chains seen there was also used as their way of restricting their movement. And then this was their source of light they used when they were here. They actually had a ways and means to lock the gate down. They started in the evening to the next day in the morning. When we came the next day, this place, it was mixed up by the students. They are urinating, spitting around. Some of them had to even ease themselves right here as part of what they were going through. But what we do every day, we need to make sure this place is cleaned. So the cleaners came here to wash everything away. But what we also observed afterwards, 3 days getting to 1 week, the scent of it was still here. So that was to give us the idea about the condition that Collis went through.
That was one night.
Exactly.
About 100 years.
Yes.
200 years.
Yes. Now let's see this one. This happens to be the original metal bar at that time, which they used for the windows and that of the gate. But because most of that are damaged, we have the wooden ones here to place them. By we seeing this one here now, it should compel us to ask a simple question. The simple question we need to be asking ourselves, question to be asked, what was the original size of it at the time that it was brought in from the 14th to the 16th century? This happens to be the entrance, which leads to a place called the door of no return. There, they meant it purposely for the enslaved woman who did survive right in the dungeons at the time that the ship came. So right here, also they had to walk them down to the ship. So then there were steps for them to be sent.
Just a moment. You say they walk them down.
Yes, to
So
the door of no.
So coming through
Yes.
there, they walk them down here.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So there used to be steps for them to go down.
Uh-huh.
But as we talk now, the steps right there, it's no more. So we'll be going to use where they kept the men. We see the door of no return.
Okay.
And at that time too, this metals here was not there. It was added recently. You know, the student, when they come here, they try inquisitive, someone will fall down, yes. So for protection, yeah.
Maybe we need one down.
Yes.
Exactly. Women and one for the men.
No, the door of no return is one.
Okay.
But they
There are
had
two entrances.
exactly
Yeah.
one here where everybody could meet together and go through. Let's go there and see how it is.
Lead it anyway.
So with this side, this is where the enslaved men who were being bought by the merchant to be taken to the new world had to be branded with hot metal on their chest before they took them to their destination. So up there, you could see some holes over there. That was where those metals were heated and being changed right here to be branded. And when it's done, straight to the ship. Let's see the place.
There's a step up.
Right, so we are actually going to see the door of no return. To get in there is one step down. So we're going to be careful. We can even use our flashlight to help yourselves. And then also, you need to watch your head right here as we go in there. Please come. Let me help you out. Watch your head. Let's come. Slowly watch your head. Keep coming. Yes. Keep coming. Keep coming. Yes, you keep coming. I'll give you the. Yes, come.
Wow, the ladies and just come down. So
Yes. The woman down to the ship. So then there were steps for them to come down. But yeah, the step is no more. So they have a drainage right there for water to move out when it rains.
Oh.
Yes. So the women coming from that side, the men also came from this side. But don't forget, I just said it already, irrespective of their age, they were chained. Why they have to walk to this place? And then this side we stand now. It happened happens to be the emotional aspect of it at that time, or the saddest aspect. The reason being so is that here, it was the only opportunity should there be families within a friends. Here was where they could see themselves for the last time before they were taking them to New World. On board, they had a different fee for the men and that of the women. With the point of you seeing your friend, your family person right here, we're now looking at the psychological aspect. When we are talking about the basis of what is going to happen to them and the other way around. Through that, there was the point of committing of suicide because nobody who will stand the pains their families and friends go through whilst they look on. We are going to see the door of no return. We're going slowly. You have to stay a little bit low before you do reach. Happens to be the door of no return.
This is it.
Yes. With the exception of this metal gate, which has been restored, whatever we are seeing over there happens to be the original size of it at that time. No matter who the enslaved Africans.
It's incredible that someone actually made it.
Incredible that our forefathers
Yeah,
and
yeah,
ancestors
yeah.
made it.
After what they had to go through.
Well, to me, being in Ghana put reality to history. What I'm saying is one thing to read something in a book, that you have a concept and you're really imagining what happened. Come here, like we went to the last bath yesterday, and here brings reality
Exactly.
to the situation of slavery. So
Yes.
that it embedded deep in my heart and my sister's heart. Like you said, that it's really humbling and sobering experience because that's what it actually does. Put reality to a mental picture of what really taking place. In the Caribbean, we know what happened in the Caribbean, but over here we're learning what happened on the other side of the Atlantic, what happened in Africa. And it really does make a lot of difference. And you know,
And you get a different perspective in the Caribbean. Than the reality. Yeah, we're fed what they want us to know.
Exactly, yeah.
Or the impression they want us to have. So to be absolutely honest,
Strong. We're strong. We're strong.
I was going to say years ago when I was a kid, for example, I had a negative attitude towards Africa.
Right.
Because of the information I
Given
was
that.
fed, and I feel so betrayed and so awful that that was done to us, and we didn't get to appreciate our brothers and sisters and ancestors the way we should have. But thankfully, we're more enlightened now, and it just means everything to be here. Yes, and thank you all so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah. About that.
No, nothing to say about this.
You're welcome.
It's really, yeah. But we knew we are always Africans, but I mean, this bring a certain reality. Not only that, we also thought that the African did not like us because they said they were never enslaved and they push up their nose and not want to welcome us. But being here, and I make a few friends because I've been here, I get a few numbers and I speak to a few people, and to me, everywhere we go, they welcome us as their brother and sisters, I should say. And I was telling my sisters recently, I've been to England, America, and a few other places. That's not really important. But it's the first place I've been to that is not my country, that I feel at home, and I feel a kinship, I feel belonging, and it is weird. I don't even know how to describe it, but like a spiritual journey in my mind. And for that, I'm extremely happy that we came.
100%. Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, I have that same feeling. You know, I'm truly at home. I know we got the most amazing welcome, and we're made to feel at home. But it's real. You know, deep inside, that's how we feel that we're at home.
Welcome. Then you say medasi.
Medasi. We carry so much time, should I write down Medasi?
Yes. Right. So we're going to welcome into the door of return once again.
But unfortunately, our ancestors did not have that.
Exactly. They did not. But because of what they did for us, we have gotten the door of return.
Yes,
Yes. So watch your head as we go back, please. Stay low. That's fine. A little bit, yeah. That's fine.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, that's fine. Now, you're welcome once again to the door of return. That place, they are prisons or cells. Now, with what you went through at the dungeons, with the reality aspect, it should compel you to ask a simple question.
Why need a prison?
Exactly. Why the need of the prison over there? What happened in there at the time of it? We'll get there to know what happened over there. But with the exception of that place being a prison, all the rooms that we have down was where they did divide the 600 men to be held in there. And unfortunately of it, right in its middle happens to be their church. That was a Catholic church for the Portuguese. Was it side by side was where they kept the enslaved men. So ask your simple question once again. What were they preaching and what were they worshiping at that time? So the Dutch were the second Europeans who fought against Portuguese and took over the place. When the Dutch took over, they were not Catholic. They happened to be Protestants who protested against the church. So when they took over, they rather had to convert the Catholic Church of the Portuguese right there to be their slave market, where they were now auctioning the enslaved Africans right in a former church. The same thing. Let's come, please. Let's see this side. Wrote this in Dutch, the old Dutch. They wrote it in a memory of one of their leaders who died and they did bury him here. His name is Ted. Now, this man Ted happens to be the last director general for the West Indies Company. And when we are talking about the West Indies Company, is one of the biggest company at the point of the slavery. He came from Zealand. Currently, we are talking about Zealand to be part of Holland or Netherlands. So what happens? This man Ted was the man who was taking care over the north and south coast of Africa. He first came here. That was on 16th of January 1758 and died on 12th March the same year 1758. At the time, he happens to be 41 years old. So when he died here, there was a pastor here who wrote a tribute about him. His name is Ted, to be a good man and then God fearing. So the point is, how can somebody be a good man and God fearing at a point of slave trade? Let's come here, please.
Well, they said to deserve that the black people are white human. so they did not feel obligated to anything. That if you're also subhuman, less than human.
You're going to do what?
That is
You
to
just said,
exercise.
sir?
Two guys.
Yes. So that is for
Okay.
to be there to protect this one. And these are the weapons or the cannons they use for their fighting if there should be any attack. Now let's see the square diagram that we have down there. The square diagram down there, that is a compass for their directions. It also serves as a sundial. They put a stick in the middle and use each shadow of it to tell their time. Where we have the coconut planted, there used to be water inside. So water being inside, the drawbridge over there, it was raised up as their way of protecting the place in the evening. Yes.
Oh, and then they pull up the steps.
Exactly.
Okay.
So that's a form of a moat. Yes.
So if you don't know, you fall between here and drown.
Exactly. So they have the outer one, the inner one. The kitchen over there. Now let's see this side. And I hope you remember this side.
Yeah, when they got the choose the lady.
Yes. So that is where he would choose the woman. And after choosing, let's see from here. Please come.
Yes, that's slim
Do you
one.
want to see the governor's bedroom? The steps there. So up there is the bedroom. Do you want to go there? Going there?
Yeah.
Sleeping place for the governor. So this being the bedroom, we also have the living room or the sitting room over there. One man. For one man. Yes. The castle to be their administrative center. So that was where they were using the castles for the whole governor of the country at the time. Yes. Yeah.
A governor before me in the Portuguese and the Dutch.
Exactly. Yes.
And the British. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. The sitting room or living room for the governor. And the other side is the dining room for one man. And as I said once again, the wood, there has been restoration of them.
So his soldiers visited and so forth.
Yes, soldiers were here to visit and protect it as well.
Yeah.
So one man have such a big place.
Yes. So dungeon and goes up to the governor's bedroom. That was where they had to walk them to the governor's bedroom. Yes.
And then it covered back.
It's covered back. Yes, it's covered back. Covered back to be a walking path. Let's come here.
Ladies.
Slowly.
It says small or medium.
So this is our small size. This is our small.
Let me just see the medium, please. Let me just see the medium, please.